And I think that a lot of people resist that preparation because they want it so fast and don't realize that the preparation is never about right now.
Yeah.
It's about not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's about not yet. And you're going through, you're like, why must I be dealing with this now? But God is like carving out purpose.
I thought I was gaining all these skill sets to work in the hospital, but he was really making me think that so that I can turn around and meet this man of God and then turn around and use all those skill sets that I gained for the kingdom and for the community.
Some people catch it in their 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s. Some people in their 50s and 60s before they wake up and say, you know what? I think I know why I'm on the planet. And it's never too late. That's the good part, to come back, because purpose is going to keep chasing you. It's going to keep calling. Well, hey, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Couple of Destiny.
Our life, our journey, and our truth.
We're so happy to have you connected on today, and we're excited once again just to be able to come and pour into you and to you and to you. You all let us know every single week, man, how this is blessing you. And it means a lot to us, right? We're just so excited about everything God is doing in this space. And of course, thank y'all so much for just making sure that you continue to just lock in every week. And we read the comments, we appreciate it. So while you're here, make sure you comment, make sure you like.
Make sure you subscribe and that you share with your friends and family.
And make sure you do. And that's so important, right? Because when you subscribe, you really help other people kind of get into this algorithm. We want them to know all the content that we're putting out there, and we appreciate it so much. So we want to make sure you follow my wife, Dr. Steph Walker, out there on IG. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3. Let's stay connected. Let's continue to do big things, and it's just an exciting time, right?
Yeah, it's such an exciting time. Wait a minute. Did you forget to tell them? Wait.
What?
Your book.
Yes. How could I forget that? No, right? I am so excited, guys. Let me tell you what, man. God has blessed me to write my 14th book.
Woo, 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 woo.
We're excited about it. It's called Pursuit of Purpose, Piece by Piece. And boy, I tell you, we're going to talk about purpose today. But maybe I'll just show you a little bit about how this book came to be, show you a little bit about why you ought to get your copy. Check this out. Life doesn't always come together perfectly. Sometimes it shatters into pieces. The question we all wrestle with is this: what do I do with the broken pieces of my life? That's why I wrote my new book, Pursuit of Purpose, Piece by Piece. Because I've learned that every fragment has meaning. Your struggles, your setbacks, your disappointments. None of it is wasted. Purpose isn't found in avoiding pain. It's discovered in how you put the pieces back together. This book is for anyone who's ever asked, why am I here? What's my next step? How do I find peace when life feels fragmented? So I want to walk with you on this journey, piece by piece, until peace makes sense again and purpose becomes clear. Don't just read another book. Start a movement in your own life. Get your copy today at josephwalker3.org. In Mount Zion, I'm excited because not only can you order now at josephwalker3.org, but on Sunday, next Sunday, October 5th, and the following Sunday, October 12th, I'll be doing book signings at all locations, at all services. So make sure you get your copy or show up and get it on those Sundays. Thank you in advance. Well, yeah. So, hey, make sure you get your copy out there now, josephwalker3.org. Get your copy now.
I want to miss this one for sure.
No. And you know what? The good news is that today we get a chance to talk about how we got into purpose. And I think that it's important because that's one of those questions everybody asks, right? What am I here to do?
How we found our purpose.
Yeah.
How do you know that you're walking in it?
Wow.
How do you know that that's what God has in store for you in your life in that season?
How about it? Yeah. And I think that for me, I think it's important to talk about it from the perspective of, I think every event of your life is really setting you up to unveil kind of what that purpose is. That purpose is progressive. And the more you accept those different pieces of your life as instrumental to that purpose, the greater peace you'll have in actually walking and understanding why they were necessary.
Or how you accept each one of those seasons as being part of your journey towards your purpose, so that we don't reject those seasons and that we don't sort of regret those seasons, but understand that they're sort of necessary sort of progress or necessary what?
Yeah, I mean, it's just part. It's a necessary to the journey.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I preached a sermon a couple of weeks back. You know, saying it was uncomfortable.
Yes.
But it was necessary.
Yeah, that's what I was
right?
going to say. Necessary discomfort sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we look back and say, I wish this hadn't happened, or I wish that hadn't happened. But if you think about it, had those things not happened, you would have never turned right, or you would have never turned left. You never would have changed, course, and then you would never be where you're supposed to be. You would have never gotten there.
Have you ever thought about, while you're watching this, and what's my purpose? How do I know what my purpose? Have you ever thought about that before you were born, that your purpose was actually in motion before you even got here?
It's already written.
Already written. Like Jeremiah says, before I formed you in your mother's belly, I knew you. God tells Jeremiah. And I like to say purpose kind of happens like you're predestined for it. It was already set, because when your mother met your father, it was all providential to get you here. And then you understand, like, we're born into this predetermined space. Then we're born with this passion. We come into the world with nothing but passion, right? It's not directed toward anything. It's just the passion of life and being a child. And you ask a child, what do you want to be? I want to be a fireman, astronaut. I want to be all over the place, right? Because the passion is not focused. And then as you grow and you begin to mature is when you begin to understand what we're talking about. Those various seasons of your life were all preparatory, setting you up to push you into that place.
Why do you think God doesn't make it just so that when you're born, if it's already written, why doesn't he just plop you into your purpose? Like, why do you have to go through the journey?
Yeah, I think it's about the preparation necessary. I think it's the preparation. It's about the testing. It's about making sure that you're able to handle certain seasons, I mean, they don't just take vehicles and they just, create a vehicle and let you start driving it. They have test dummies for a reason, right? I mean, there's a season of preparation. Jesus took the disciples. He knew what the end was going to be with them, but he took them for 3 years through preparation.
It's like there's certain skill sets that you need to acquire in order to be successful in that purpose, in that season that you're destined for. And unless you go through those seasons, you can get there and be a complete flop. It's almost like, would you take a untrained athlete who is out of shape, is not conditioned, and plop them in the middle of an NFL football game? You wouldn't do that, because they would be crushed, right? So they have to go through that journey to build the muscles necessary, to build the speed, to build the agility, to build the sort of necessary thinking that goes into being able to maneuver on the field and not get hurt and ultimately reach the end goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely important. And I think that a lot of people resist that preparation because they want it so fast. They don't realize that the preparation is never about right now.
Yeah.
It's about not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's about not yet. And you're going through, you're like, why must I be dealing with this now? But God is like carving out purpose for where you're going, and if you can't handle the pressure in the mailroom, how in the world can you handle it in the boardroom?
Well, what do you say to the people who, you just said, okay, God has already preordained your destiny, your purpose. So what happens when people miss purpose? What happens when people are older and they still haven't found what their purpose was? Maybe they took a left, maybe they took what? Why is that allowed? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, we're free moral agents. We're free moral agents. And I think that it is, purpose is going to be there. There's this thing, you're born to solve a problem, and that problem is going to exist in the earth, and you're the answer to that problem. You can take a different path, but you'll never have peace. You're taking that path, but something is always pulling at you and pulling at you. Some people catch it in their 30s. 20s, 30s, 40s. Some people in their 50s and 60s before they wake up and say, you know what? I think I know why I'm on the planet. And it's never too late. That's the good part. To come back, because purpose is going to keep chasing you. It's going to keep calling. That passion ain't going nowhere. That thing, that call, that small voice is going to keep speaking to you
that
until...
thing that tugs at your spirit
Oh
constantly.
my God, it's constantly saying, come here, come here, come here. And sometimes you can be way in a whole other career path or doing something over here, and you'll eventually find yourself
like whispers
reverting.
a little bit.
Oh Lord, yeah.
And it's calling you to look over here, to maybe try this, do this. And you're like, no, I need to do this because this is the safe thing. This is the only thing that I've ever done, even though this is really calling you over here.
Yeah. And I think that when you come into that place, you begin to realize, like, okay, all right, so it's never too late. But what did the preparation do? And you said something earlier, right, about people have skill sets and et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's important to hear it this way. I think you can have great IQ and poor EQ. And what you learn...
And IQ is...
Yeah, it's
like your intellect.
Yeah.
Your brain.
Yeah, cognition.
How smart people consider you to be based on a scale.
Yeah,
and EQ is your emotional intelligence.
Yes.
How aware are you about how others feel about you and how others feel about you, etc. Are you able to pick up on the nuances of other people without them actually saying anything or what have you?
And so you take a smart person, IQ, put them in a situation that they haven't had any life experience or preparation. They may can do the job, but they don't know how to have people skills, relationship skills, how to navigate and move the company and move the thing forward. Person who's had a lot of experiences with people and a lot of experiences with, groups and teams and et cetera, they have emotional intelligence. And they're like, I can do a good thing, but I understand things like timing, cadence, networking, collaboration.
And the rest you can learn.
You can learn it.
You can learn
You can learn it because you're smart enough to learn it. Yeah. And so I think that's important. I think, so here's a question for you. So I'm going to just ask it. So was medicine your purpose? Or was it a path
I think it was a part of the story.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a doctor since I was 8 years old. I was always passionate, probably 6 or 7, honestly.
Yeah.
And I was always passionate about the medical field. I used to be a little kid sitting in the living room watching surgical videos on television of them removing tumors and working in the emergency room. And these were always documentaries, and I was always glued to the television. And I was that kid who had the Dr. Barbie. I was a kid who had the stethoscope and would always go up to all the pregnant women, listening to the babies, listening to the people, everyone's hearts, etc. So I always felt like that was my calling. But what I realized is, it's interesting, and thank you for asking that question, because what I realize is God has an interesting way of putting things in your path that you as a human being have a heart for and are passionate for, so that it drives you to pursue that thing, so that you can get those skills that are necessary, because you have to be self-driven. There's these things that have to drive you to achieve, right, in order to get those skills. But then sometimes he'll flip that thing, which is what I feel like he did for me. And actually, it's almost like he has a sense of humor. I thought I was gaining all these skill sets to work in the hospital, but he was really making me think that so that I can turn around and meet this man of God, and then turn around and use all those skill sets that I gained for the kingdom and for the community. And so it's something that was so much bigger than anything that I could ever comprehend. If he would have dropped that in my spirit when I was younger or more immature, there's no way that I could have comprehended it. And there's no reason, and I don't know that I would have chased that thing down, because I would have been intimidated. I would have been afraid. I would have been like, that's not me. That's not what I'm about. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a necessary part of the journey.
Purpose, it looks like it's revealed at a certain time of our ability to actually comprehend it and not reject it. Because sometimes if you get it too soon, your natural proclivity is to reject it because it goes against your life plan. Yeah. Right? And you don't realize that your life plan is actually a part of pushing you toward the thing. You end up putting a cap on it and saying, but this is all I want to do.
Well, it's also our human capacity to understand what God is capable of doing.
Yeah.
I think as humans, we tend to put God in a box based on our limited view or perspective or experience of what we've seen and what we've experienced and what we expect God to be capable of doing, not recognizing that he's so much bigger and greater and more capable to be able to just sit and just blow our mind. And so I agree, like, I don't know that anyone who is doing phenomenal things ever had that type of vision. Like, I feel like most people, their vision might have been a small piece of that, but it wasn't. Most people will tell you, I never in a million years would have imagined God would be doing this in my life.
I get called into ministry. In my mind, my purpose is to preach the gospel, yes. But then the trajectory of that in the earth, in my circle is, you get called, you get a church, and you pastor.
You stay there forever.
And you stay there forever, right?
Yeah.
So, which then I began to realize my purpose was greater, that the actual pastoring is a small part.
Well, you were also thinking that you were going to go back to Shreveport and pastor your home church or be a part of that congregation in this, relatively small microcosm, as opposed to be worldly impactful. That was not even anything that was on your
You don't
radar.
realize that purpose, and I talk about this in the book, you don't realize that purpose is multi-dimensional.
Yes. 100%.
It's never just one thing. There's a variety of things. Would I've ever been the author of 14 books? Would I've ever, been doing commencement addresses? Would I ever be leading leaders and doing the things that I'm doing? Would I ever been able to do that? I've served college instructors and doing these things. Would you have ever stepped out to all those other things that were in you had you been so just locked in?
No, I was so tunnel vision. Like,
tunnel vision,
my vision or trajectory was go to medical school, work at an amazing hospital, go to work, cure patients, heal people, love on people, come home.
Do that for 40 years.
And then turn around and go back every single day. Like, that was my scope, because that's what I saw, and that's what I felt like that's what I was called to do. Not understanding that doing that could lead to working in the community, working with other churches, working with other countries for that matter, working with, various organizations outside of the one organization that you're connected to connect, and build bridges and just be so impactful across the nation and across the globe, really. Like, my microcosm was like inside the four walls of a hospital, and that was that. And I was happy with that, right? And I was content with that until I wasn't. And I remember like being in Los Angeles and being a fellow in neonatology at the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. And I loved what I did, but I knew that there was more. And I remember dropping to my knees and praying. I was like, Lord, I don't know what this means, but I know that you're telling me that this is not all that you want me to do. And then I was just like, lead me, guide me, show me what you want to do. And then he told me, go back to school. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to Harvard. I don't want to go get a master's of public health. I would just spend 20 years of my life, 25 years of my life in school. I'm not interested. And then, of course, he worked with me, as God always does. And I went and pursued that new passion. And, look what God did.
One of the things that I talk about in the book, and I'll raise this question to you, maybe somebody can, in the comment section, kind of wrestle with this. Like, what's your why? Like, maybe that's a rhetorical question. But the issue is, a lot of people, we do what we do. But when you come into purpose, I think there's a wonderful marriage between what you do and why you do it. Because if you're not in purpose, you're doing stuff and don't know why you're doing it, and you're getting frustrated because you're like, what difference does it make? But in fact, when you understand your why, it has a lot to do with the fruit, has a lot to do with the end game. You begin to see, you just said it, globally. The people, for example, just the other day, we welcomed 60 students into our home, medical students. And we got a chance to pour into them, graduate students. This one right here, inspiring those young physicians and watching, minority physicians sit up in their chair like, to see a woman who has gone to the top of the food chain, and then like to be able to mentor and to pour back, you begin to realize this is your why. Your why has a lot to do with all the experiences you've had and how rare it is for them to see a rare bird like you, and to pour that and say, you can accomplish that, you can do this, and to tell them, stay in church, pay your tithe, be focused on God, don't ever lose sight of that, don't let your relationship with whoever make you drop out a semester, stay the course. And they heard you, and they were locked in, and I watched them come alive, I watched them get that second win, and I began to realize how that's what gave you, that's what perks you up. Like, that's what, like for you, it's like,
That's
give
what
me that
drives
all
me.
day. And that's like your love language,
Helping
right?
other people win.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you would say that, because it's like God blesses you, not for you, but he blesses you to be a blessing, right? And so you find this thing that you're passionate about, and you think that it's for you, right? But it's really for you to be a conduit to do God's work. And then you realize it was never for you. It was for you to open the door to help hundreds of other people reach their goals. And it's almost like it just propagates, right? It's exponential. When you do it, you open the door for others.
Yeah.
Then they open the door for others, and they open the door for others. And so you have now indirectly impacted thousands, if not eventually millions of people that you will never see or meet, simply because you are obedient to what God asked you to do.
Our why, my why and purpose, I'm doing the same thing, right? Pastor, young preachers come into town to sit down, and I love it. If your why doesn't make you cry, it's probably not purpose. Like, if you don't get like the goosebumps, like we were so geeked, and when you're tired, exhausted, but yet when this comes around, we find
It brings
energy.
you to life, right?
Physically exhausted with all the stuff we were doing leading up to that, but when those kids walked through the door, we were just like, yes, this is our sweet spot.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it. When you find that why, and that's a question for you, like, what is your why? And that is the thing that I think that really helps people understand the value and purpose. And I think everybody watching today, you're on the planet to do something extraordinary. And don't beat yourself over the back if you missed it. A lot of people missed it. You may be saying, well, I was afraid, or I didn't think that, I could do it, or, oh, I get it. But it's never too late.
That's what I was just about to say.
Come
Thank
on,
you.
say it.
Yeah, well, I think what ends up happening is people look up, and they, and then you start to hear from the peanut gallery, like, you shoulda, you woulda, you coulda, but now you're too old. I heard that. You're too old to go back to school. Really? Well, that's what God told me to do, so I'm going to do it, and now look at me now, right? And so, like, you're too old. You're not the right color. You're not the right religion, you're not the right ethnicity, you're not in the right city, you're not in the right place, you don't have enough money. There's so many you don't have enough of, or you're not. And the reality is, what's for you is for you. He said it already. It's already been written. Just because you take a detour, just because you take a left as opposed to taking a right, just because you fall down and skin your knee, like, it doesn't mean that it's not there waiting for you. If you want it, get up and go get it. What's for you is for you. I am a firm believer that there are so many things that are not going to be accomplished in this world because there are people who are supposed to be assigned to those things who are either in jail or untimely deaths, or did something that threw them off the trajectory, or quit. Right? But again, God is a God of order, and he's almighty, and he's omniscient and omnipotent. And so I do believe that eventually those things will get done because he'll assign it to somebody else, right? Because he's God, right? However, you just think the only way that you can miss your assignment is not if you fall or trip up. We've all done that. Like, we've all missed the mark at some point in time when we got back up and kept going. The only way that you can miss it is if you quit, is if you give up, is if you don't go back to school, if you don't go back to, whatever that passion was, if you don't take that risk, if you don't open that door or walk through the door that has been opened for you. Because I think what also ends up happening in a lot of people is that the door opens, and we've been so convinced by the naysayers that we can't do it that we don't walk through it. And we have this imposter syndrome, like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not really supposed to be there, or they just opened the door, but it wasn't really for me, it was for somebody else. They made a mistake, and we either self-sabotage, or we don't walk through it, or we quit when we walk in because it's a little bit more difficult than what we expected. At the end of the day, God ordained it, God said it. If he said it, if he ordained it, if it's written, you can do it. It's for you. I say go for it.
You heard it right. The route may change, but the destination is still the same. You be encouraged. No matter what it is God has called you to do, no matter what challenges, no matter what, there's a purpose in your life. The poet put it like this: when you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely face to face, lift your chin, set your shoulders, plant your feet, and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge, you do the best you can do. You may fail, but you may conquer. See it through. And black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim, but don't let your nerve desert you. Keep yourself in fighting trim. And if the worst is bound to happen, despite all you can do, running from it will not save you. See it through. And even hope may seem but futile when with trouble you're beset. But remember, you're facing just what others have met, and you may fall, but fall still fighting. Don't give up whatever you do. Eyes front, head high to the finish. See it through. That's our word for you today. Hope you were blessed. There's a purpose in your life, and it's amazing. And I promise you, we didn't just wake up in purpose. We went through some things that we learned.
Went through a whole lot of things.
Our purpose now is our sweet spot, and I want it to be your sweet spot. So make sure, listen, thank y'all so much for tuning in, and make sure you let us know what you think about this episode. Put it in the comments section. You know how to do it. And listen, don't forget to get the new book. You know what it's called. Pursuit of Purpose, Piece by Piece. Yes, that's P-A-C-E by P-I-E-C-E. Go get it. JosephWalker3.org. I want you to get your copy. And listen, we appreciate you so much. We got a good one coming to you soon, so stay tuned. I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Be blessed. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode and it was impactful to you, make sure you subscribe.
And if you're interested in more videos like this, go ahead and check out this one.